Wow. Man, that was amazing. All right. All right. Welcome to Live. Yeah. Welcome to Live from My Drum Room, everybody. It's great to see you all. And Vinny Valentino has just joined us. Hey, Vinny.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, what's going on?
It's great to see everybody. We got a whole bunch of folks watching, and this is actually episode 200 of Live from My Drum Room, and I'm excited to make it a very special one. So, with me right now, the legendary Steve Smith.
Hello.
On his way to a gig, actually. Steve Orkin. Steve Orkin, Bruce Becker.
Having trouble getting on.
Oh, boy. And Mike Mangini's waiting in the wings. And Vinny Valentino has just joined us, and Bruce Becker. All right. Great to see you guys.
Great to see you
Steve,
too, John.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Steve Orkin, maybe you could take a second and just sort of talk about that clip you just played and give us a little quick insight. And we're going to go to Steve Smith to talk about how this all started happening.
Yeah, we got to get to Steve Smith because he's got to run out. But I was going to say that was one of the best moments we ever had at the camp, except I can think of like 10 more of those, actually. So it's really fun. But that was the opening concert from 2 years ago at Musicians Institute. We did the camp there. That was the opening concert. Everyone was on there. And we did a tribute to some of the drummers who had died during the pandemic since the last time we had done the camp. So we tribute to Neil and Alan White. And there were a couple of other drummers on there as well. Charlie Watts. And so it was just a great moment.
Ginger Baker was another one. We did some dream music as well. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, good moment.
Yeah, it was. That was pretty intense. Learning this entire arrangement that Vinny and Chrissi put together, and then rehearsing it, and then performing it at the opening concert. It was a great moment. Great memory. There's Mike.
Hey, Mike Mangini.
Mike Mangini has entered the building.
There, you let me hear. Oh my gosh! I forgive me. You'll get this. My default browser would not let me get in here because it's not Chrome, and whenever I changed it to, it kept switching back, and I'm like going, no, my God. Anyway, here I am. I apologize. I was recording a little bit late, and I figured I'd just jump on. So here I am. How are you guys?
Hey, good. It's great to see you, Mike. Great to see you.
It's fantastic to see you. Of course, I'm falling in like a pile of bricks off of a wheelbarrow.
I did the same thing, Mike. So
yeah.
Hey, look, Steve Smith, thank you so much for joining us.
I know. Yeah. Steve's on limited time. So, Steve, you've got kind of a backstory on how this all sort of came together. Yeah.
Yes. So to go back to before the very first Drum Fantasy Camp, I had been teaching at drum camps for many years, different drum camps around the world. And on quite a few of those camps, Dave Wecker would be on the staff as well. So the two of us, really started talking about, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we could design a camp that checked all the boxes of all the positive aspects of the camps we were teaching at, but also added the component of having live musicians, having a band to play with. So we had taught at some, really great camps, and I'm sure they were inspiring. They were inspiring for us and for the other drummers, but there was no context. Like it was drummers and drumming, but without playing with a bass player, guitar player, keyboard player, singer. And as it turned out, then there was one other, and the aspect of the band came about because when I was a teenager, I went to a Stan Kenton camp. Now, Stan Kenton was a big band, kind of an institution in the jazz world, and every summer the Stan Kenton band would have at least 3 week-long jazz camps. there'd be an East Coast, a Midwest, and a West Coast. And I went to the East Coast camp that was in Towson, Maryland. As it turned out, Dave went to the camp in Missouri, and we were sitting with Chad Wackerman at the time, and he went to the camp in Los Angeles. And since then, I've talked to Vinny Colaiuta. He went to the Kenton stage band camps, and many drummers. And of course, when I went to the camp, Peter Erskine was the teacher. Peter was playing in Stan Kenton's band at that time. And so that's the idea, you know, to play with musicians, to learn about drums, but to play with other musicians. And then, as it turns out, Dave Weckl and I both have Steve Orkin as our webmaster and social media guru. And so we had a talk with Steve Orkin about, you know, organizing a drum camp. And then just Steve ran with it. He loved the idea. We gave him a lot of parameters, like, you know, 15 people in a class, for instance. We found that that was ideal. So you could have a classroom situation, but also there would be some individual attention to all the people in the classroom. You know, the idea of 4 teachers and just keeping it in a way open to a lot of folks, but manageable. So it wouldn't be too many people that you're trying to work with. And Steve organized it. He put it together. And since the very first camp, it's been going pretty great. And in those years, we had Vital Information come and some of my bands come and be the band. And that's how, you know, Vinny got involved. Vinny Valentino got involved as now being the resident band leader for the Drum Fantasy Camp band, and along with co-leader Chrissi Poland, who, you know, helps organize the arrangements and the music and gives the campers an opportunity to play with very high level pro musicians. So that's like, you know, an encapsulated backstory of how Drum Fantasy Camp came into being, and that it's a combination of, it's a lot of fun, but it's pretty serious too. You know, like people come to really learn about drumming and learn about music, and it's not just come out and hang out with celebrities. It's like the people that come, it's, I don't want to make it sound too serious, but it's like, it's people that really want to get better. You know, people want to get better on their instrument, all ages and all levels.
Great. That's fantastic.
Couldn't say it better myself.
And this is the 16th year, Steve Orkin?
Yes, this will be the 16th year.
Wow.
We didn't do it for 2 years because of COVID, and we did some online classes during that time. But
Right.
yeah, came back 2 years ago, and it came back really strong.
Yeah. I'll just say, I remember when you started this, because I feel like Steve Smith came to me, or maybe you did Steve Orkin directly, but when you did it in Ohio, it was through a local drum shop, Steeble Drums, or
Right. Yeah.
is that in the very beginning?
Yep, Steeble Drums, and probably
Steeble
we were
Drums.
begging you for some cymbals or something. I don't know.
Well, no, but I remember it was very early on, and I remembered the way that Zildjian could get involved in terms of financial support was through the dealer component. We didn't have like a budget to support a drum camp, unfortunately, but we did have like a clinic support budget. So we sort of took the money there and were able to support it. And I was so, you know, just honestly so happy to see it grow every year. And I'd see you at the NAMM show and you'd say, yeah, I'm lining up my guys for this year. And it just, you know, from an outsider looking in, I could really see it starting to happen for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On the
And
success.
really, I mean, I have to say, if it weren't for Steve Smith and Dave Weckl back at that time when we were discussing this, I don't think it ever would have taken off the way that it did. I just was lucky to know the two of them would be doing some work, and they trusted me enough that if they showed up, somehow it would work. It almost didn't the first year. There were all kinds of calamities going on, but it was nuts. But we did pull it off.
That was in New Jersey. That first year was in New Jersey before you moved it to Cleveland.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it at Seton Hall University, and we threw in everything in the kitchen sink with that one. We had vital information, but then Steve had more than vital information. Remember, you had a guru there. Trying to think of his name. Ravi Chandra. Ravi Chandra Kalur.
Right.
Yeah.
Who plays with exactly. He plays flute and conical, and he plays with Anushka Shankar.
Yeah.
And he was there. And I think wasn't the Andy Fusco and the guys from Buddies, and they all, they all played. There was so many great musicians playing with the band.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I don't know, I remember starting that concert and looking at it and seeing that ensemble up there and being excited about what transpired, and also being like really scared, like, wow, all this is like happening. But the coolest thing is, and I always say my favorite part of the camp is when it starts and I just step back from it, and these people you see on the screen right now and others over the years are doing what they do. It makes it look like I know what I'm doing, but really, if you put those people on the stage and you let them do what they do, it just works really well. Every year. Yeah.
So let's.
Well, can I
mean, I was going to say, like, what happens during a day? That's kind of a way to give folks overview of what happens throughout a day at Drum Fantasy Camp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, it depends on the teacher, but generally the schedule is that in the morning you have a 9 o'clock a.m. to noon class with your instructor for that day. Then you take an hour and a half lunch break, and then you come back and you get another 3 hours with that instructor. So, for example, this year when you were with Bruce or Mike or on this call, you're going to get a full day with both of those guys. And the classes this year, they'll be actually a little bit smaller. So there'll probably be maybe 10 people in the class. So with 10 people in there, you can get a lot done. You get to know everybody. And depending on what the instructor and each of the guys can talk about what they're going to do in particular, because it's all different. You get a different experience with each guy, but it's like a discussion. It's demonstration. A lot of the time you are not playing because you need to be listening. You need to be taking advantage of that moment. So I don't want people to think it's a drum lab per se, where all day you're like this and Mike Mangini's walking by going, good. That's not the best use of sitting with Mike. You want to kind of be quiet and get his approach. Bruce can talk more about what he'll do, but I think with him for the first time, we'll have somebody who's more of an expert in the mechanics. And so you might be doing a little bit more playing. And each class is different. Chris Coleman normally plays the bass, and I have a clip of him that I'll show a little bit later. But he plays the bass and has you sit in with him, which is incredible. And he's coaching you. And this goes on all day. And then the next day you do it again, but you do it with the next instructor. And by the end of the camp, you've done it with everyone, unless you buy like a 1 or a 2 day package, and then you do it with 1 or 2 of the guys. And then we take a break at 4:30, and at 7 you show up for the jam night. You sit back and you relax and you watch other people and yourself get up and play with that incredible band that you just saw, which includes Vinny Valentino, who's down in the corner there, our musical director, Chrissi Poland, incredible singer, Stu Mindeman, the keyboard player, tours with Dave Weckl and a lot of other great people, and then Hagar Ben-Ari, who a lot of people have seen playing with Scary Pockets, or they saw on the James Corden show. You don't want to be scared. You want to get up and play. It's great. It's such a friendly atmosphere. There's no pressure. It's really friendly. It's a really fun time.
And Steve, we should mention that in addition to all the people you just mentioned, Simon Phillips will be there this year as well.
Yep, Simon Phillips will be there. He's in Japan right now, so he couldn't join the call. He said unless he wakes up at 6 a.m. and can't sleep, maybe he'll hop on. But Simon will be there. Bruce and Mike, and then
Yeah.
Chris Coleman.
In the old days, Simon would have gotten up at 6 and joined us, or just not gone to bed. But
Yeah.
he's like the rest of us. He's not getting any younger. So
Keeping an eye to see if he pops in, but
yeah. I heard you, Johnny D. I heard that. I want to quickly read a comment that someone posted here. Craig Waltner said, "I went to DFC in 22. Weckl, Smith, Phillips, Juliana, and had a blast. What an experience! Absolute world class."
From Wisconsin, I know Craig. Yep, he comes. I see some other guys in there actually in the comments who. Larry
lots of
Muffin,
comments.
he comes. We have a lot of regular people who come every year because it becomes a bit of a community. And there's some people probably watching. I should give a shout out to Eugene Waukee, who comes almost every year, helps out, carries stuff around, helps out the guys. Mark Chang, who also comes from Northern California, is probably watching. Probably a slew of other people, but we have like a crew.
Yeah.
And they show up almost every year. So it's great. And I want to kind of underline that the average person who comes to the camp is not a pro incredible player. The average person who comes to the camp is somebody who there are some pros and there are also some beginners, but generally a lot of them are just people who are good players, but love to sit in a class with these people and talk drums and learn more all day. So, a lot of people write to me and they'll say,
they take home a little.
Yeah.
There's no little hand like on Zoom if you raise your hand.
That's it right there.
I was gonna call on you, Mike.
Well, but on your point, Steve, the whole thing about doing master classes a lot more lately for some of us, there's a way that no matter what the skill level is or talent level is in the room, you strip down each of these things to fundamentals anyway. And the whole best part of it, and the best part of why I liked teaching labs at Berkeley, was that each person gets to see that they're not alone. They get to see other people either that have the same issues or that are doing the same thing. And when you start to see someone else correct something, you get a lot of confidence. So the group environment is extraordinary, and it's a lot of fun. And I've been teaching it and having a blast. So just keep that in mind too, that it doesn't matter what the skill level is, because again, everything gets broken down in steps anyway. So everyone has a chance to jump in where they are comfortable, but yet you don't have to do too much. And if you're advanced, you don't have to do too little. Cool.
Yeah, that's great insight, Mike. Yeah. And Steve,
I want to add that, and you go home with a lot to work on. So even as an instructor, I'm hearing what the other teachers are doing, and because I'm asking what they're doing, and then we talk about like, what are you teaching? Oh, I'm working on this. I always leave with a pile of great ideas to work on, which keeps me going for months, after the camp. So and you're inspired. You're just inspired. So, once you leave the camp, that a lot of energy, I think, remains that you then continue to develop.
Yeah.
Johnny, are you giving out free Zildjian leather coats? You have like a box of those, and you have a box of those at home.
I'm selling them on eBay, actually, Mike. It's paying for my retirement.
Yeah, I know. It's like the call ends. Hey, dude, you got any of those swish cymbals left? We're so used to asking you for stuff, right out loud. It's odd not to do it.
You can always ask me. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. No, and I was just going to say, I think a really important point to all this too is not to speak for Steve Orkin, but there's still spaces available this year, right? I mean, the camp is in August. Is it the first weekend of August?
Goes August 3 to the 6th. And then on the 7th, there's an extra class. Simon Phillips is going to be in a local recording studio. And you can spend 4 hours with him in there tuning up the drums, getting sounds, miking it, all that stuff. So it actually does go to the 7th, and there's, I think, 3 spots left in that class.
Oh,
Wow.
I didn't know that, Steve. No wonder why you're trying to get me on a plane the night of the 6th. Simon did that so I wouldn't be in there haggling him.
You should be in there.
We were supposed
Jump
to
on
be
board.
there, but
Oh,
Jump
no.
on board and tell him this is all wrong. This is all wrong.
No wonder
Right.
you're doing that. I wanted to get some of his tricks. Gee, if they're stole enough from him, I want to keep stealing stuff from him.
So I just got a text from my drum tech. He's downstairs,
Okay.
going to pick me up, and we're going to Birdland to set up and sound check. So it's been great hanging, but I do have to go and
Thank you,
play
Steve.
at Birdland this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we put that flyer up? If anybody in New York or the
Yeah.
tri-state area, Steve is at Birdland tonight through Sunday.
That's
Is
right.
that right, Steve?
At the
12 through
Birdland
14?
Theater, two shows a night with the new Vital Information with Manuel Valera and Yannick Guizdala. So I'm going to go.
I can attest. I saw them at the Baked Potato.
Yeah.
Yes,
I can
that's
attest.
right.
I saw Steve at the Baked Potato with that trio. Exceptional. Make your way out there and check it out. It was really
Absolutely.
a burning affair.
Yeah.
I saw him at the Baked Potato as well. It was incredible.
You got to get to the show. And if you mention Live from My Drum Room podcast, all drinks are regular price. Buy one ticket, get the second ticket at the same price. Just mention my name and Live from My Drum. Steve, I just want to say thank you for being here. And, I was going to say this earlier as a fellow Bostonian, South Shore guy. You're the hottest thing to come out of Whitman, Massachusetts since the Toll House cookie. And I just want
Right
to
on.
tell everybody.
there's
That's-
3 of you from Boston.
I want to thank Steve. He's been so supportive of the camp for years, and to come on and do this, I really do appreciate that.
He's the best.
Thank you,
We
Steve.
were just,
Thank you.
and
right,
let's all
guys.
wish Steve, wish him a happy early birthday. He's got a big birthday coming up next month, August 8th, Steve?
20th.
August 21st.
21st. Okay.
He's
Big
32.
birthday.
70 years old. 70.
Unbelievable.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Well,
But I'm going to be relaxing in upstate New York. And Johnny, I sent you a picture from my backyard grill
I love that picture. I love that picture.
with my shirt live from my drum room. All right.
I couldn't ask for a better plug.
All right. Take care.
Look at that. Steve, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. All right, carry
Nice
on,
gripping
everyone.
there too,
Great-
Steve.
Great. Yeah. Matt grip. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. Thanks,
See you,
Steve.
Bye-bye.
See you, Steve.
Yeah, I think we lost Vinny for a minute, but I want to ask Bruce just because he's the newest member of the camp here. Mike's been to the camp before, of course, but I was curious, Bruce, what are you going to do in your class? I think a lot of people love to know that.
Okay, well, if anybody knows what I do, I'm generally the guy who's going to break down your hands and give you like some connecting fibers to all the different positions, and also build it into more of a musical fabric, not just technique for technique's sake, because we got to, take that out of the mix, and it needs to be facilitated for the musical end of the spectrum. And that's what I've been doing for 43 years. I do it day in and day out. I'm here 5 days a week here teaching about 6 to 7 guys a day all over the planet. If you don't know my background, I was very close to Freddie Gruber. I got a lot of insights from Freddie, Jimmy Chapin. And then, the task of teaching people from day to day has certainly, built up some infrastructure of problem solving, because everybody's an individual. You're trying to put forth a certain concept, and you want to make sure that that is accepted on the other end, your participant that you're working with. And so I found several strategies to kind of bring that about so that people can embrace what's going on. Try to bring a 360-degree view of what you can do on the drums, whether it's, your hands, your feet, conceptual ways of playing time, and building upon all that fabric that everybody needs. And the thing about, drumming is that because it's a physical instrument, there's always a necessity to kind of reevaluate and check out your hands. As you get older, things change. You might atrophy. You might find yourself in a cul-de-sac and not able to get and break through to get to that next level you're looking to pursue. And that's where I come in. I can break that stuff down very effectively, as well as with a good communication, because I've been doing it, like I said, for millions of years. So, that's what it is. And I also, always open up the table of conversation, because I don't want to just pontificate up there. I want to bring in everybody's questions and their ideas are of what they're seeking and searching, and then try to facilitate and help them along and push them forward. So there's a lot of material I go through. I was thinking 6 hours ain't enough in the day, but I will definitely formulate. I just did a weekend workshop in Austria, 2-day affair. And it was interesting because as I was in my mode of teaching, that's when I got the text from you, Steve. It was like in the universe. I was doing my thing. It was a little break in our vacation. We did a big family vacation overseas to do I called it the Bruce Becker tour, all the places I lived and hung. So I was taking my kids to kind of sit and see where Papa lived and hung and all that good stuff. But anyway, it was just funny that happened, because as I got the text, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And so here we are, looking forward to the August 3rd through 6th, kicking some ass in Los Angeles. Who's ever not signed up, come on out. It's a great lineup. I mean, Mike, exceptional. Simon Phillips, Chris Coleman, what the heck, man. And Vinny as a guitarist. I met Vinny many, many years ago with Joel Rosenblatt somewhere. I don't remember the club, but it was about 20 years ago. So you probably remember all about it, I'm sure, right?
Oh, sure. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember it well.
All right.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, that's my task at hand.
Have you been at
Go
have
ahead,
you been in
Vinny.
LA very long?
Me? Oh, I've been living here most of my life. I mean, I did spend a period of time over in Europe. I lived 4 years in Antwerp, Belgium, 1 year in Vienna. That was in the 90s. My brother and I have a long-standing jazz trio. We don't work together anymore, but 35 years together, 10 albums. Got a chance to work with a great deal of people, from Barbara Dennerlein over in Germany, great B3 organist, recorded with Ron Carter and Mike Stern, Russell Ferrante, and then, worked some gigs with the late, great Suzanne Summers. And then I always say I work with every guy in LA, work with all the guys who work with the guys, So from guys from like Lance Morrison, who works with Don Henley, and now Mike Campbell's group, the Dirty Knobs, to Bruce Watson from Foreigner, and on and on and on, just doing a myriad of those cover gigs and stuff like that I did thousands of. But now, as an educator and just having kids late in the day, my time for doing gigs or anything like that is completely off the map. So as COVID hit and things diminished for everybody, my gigging schedule went to a zero format. And rightly so, because at my age, I need to look after myself, my students, my kids. Well, it actually goes my kids, me, and my students. And there's no time for gigging. If I did that, I'd just be burning the midnight oil. And at 65, it ain't something I want to do anymore. So, found a nice place here, and very fortunate to walk in the door and be able to teach. I've been doing it for a long time. So, so that's one of my skill sets, I say. And they say, what did they say? You got to use your skill set to feed your family. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Right on. Yep.
Yeah, burning the midnight. I still do it, and then in the classes I tape the students down, and we hit each other with wiffle ball bats. If you can't get it right, everyone just boom, you get like a pink belly.
And you'll do that at the camp, I'm thinking, right?
Oh yeah.
I got to get a visual of your class, man. I'll sit in on your class too.
Yeah, but because I didn't know what to say, because we pretty much do the same thing after we've all been teaching for a while. You problem solve. My system's called Rhythm Knowledge. I never provided a graphic, so Johnny D could float it across the thing here, whatever.
Yeah,
but so I use that, and then you talk to everybody, and you have to ask what people are interested in, because if they're not interested, it affects long-term memory. There's a gate; it just shuts, no matter what. It's not going in there. So you gotta give and take a little bit, and also have a lot of fun. But it's the same thing, and we're there to help people progress, but also apply it musically. Otherwise,
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. So it's all good.
Well said.
Yeah.
What, the wiffle
No,
ball bat?
Yeah, the wiffle ball bat.
I know I'm speaking or preaching to the choir in this group that we're talking to right now. And probably a lot of people that are watching, there's many, are familiar with Mike Mangini's background. But, Mike had a hugely high profile gig for many years as the drummer for Dream Theater. But I don't know how many people realize how deep his educational background is. I certainly do, because we've been friends for 40 years. But I mean, he was teaching at Berkeley before that, but teaching privately in the Boston area as one of the most sought after teachers. So I'm just saying this just to say I'm so glad you're part of the camp, Mike, because you bring
Thanks.
so much to it.
Well, thank you. Nobody reads my bio. It's interesting when I do interviews. It's like very, very rare. I don't know if there's one out of like 174 people that interview me that actually go and read, because my background was in classical and jazz for more years than it wasn't, and all that training and the reading and the competing, the all-state jazz, the concert bands and the traveling and all that stuff. It seems like, forever ago, but it doesn't leave you, you just keep building up, but people don't even know that. And I can't wait to play a couple of funky, groovy tunes with VV over here. I cannot wait to get into that, because I don't get hired for that. It's like when you mention that, people know that I do that, but I get those jobs because I can do it. So I go out and maybe get the job or something, but it's not all that I do. And to be honest with you, I've really been enjoying doing some straight up stuff lately, and I really can't wait to get out there and maybe play a little bit of Prince, Vinny. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we'll do, but it's just so much fun to take the science project stuff and know what you can put into a song that won't make everyone in the band turn around and say, please don't do that. So I don't know where one is. You gotta lay it down. So it's all good. I'm really looking forward to it. But thanks for mentioning that, John.
Absolutely, Mike. You should, just to mess with their heads, play left-handed for like a whole set, and just because you can.
Well, when I did it at the Modern Drummer Festival in 2006, it was supposed to be funny, and it didn't come across as funny. I guess I get a sick and twisted sense of humor. And I was going back.
I thought it was great.
That's right. Oh, we had some fun. I remember that.
Yeah, we did.
I never care about fashion. I mean, obviously, I'm in the middle of recording and I'm just like, whatever, I'll just go on. Who cares? But at that, I think I wore, and I hate that it's on YouTube and then I can't take it off, but I'm wearing my bed clothes. My hair was like just growing out. And it was like, I looked like George Harrison from '68. And I'm in like, bed clothes. So I didn't even care. And I was swapping back and forth, righty, lefty. Yay. That was funny. And like, no one's laughing. So anyway, yeah, whatever. I don't even know why I said that. It just made me go back to that day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But we'll have some fun. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Vinny Valentino, man, it's so good to reconnect with you after so many years. I met you in the 25 years ago, probably, right? When you started playing with Vital Information. Was that about late 90s?
Yeah, it was 2004
Okay.
that I started playing with Vital. So it's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah.
A lot of water under the bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's so great to see you involved in this. And I was going to just say, I mean, for you, it's got to be a lot of fun, but also a lot of challenges to play with different drummers. How do you deal with that?
Well, let me take you back to
wiffle ball bats.
Yeah, wiffle ball bat. Something Steve said. I remember driving around in the van, and Steve Smith telling us, "Hey, I've got this idea for a drum camp, and we were going to play Cleveland. I forget the name of that place, Nighttown in Cleveland." And he said, "You're going to meet a guy. We're gonna pass the idea on to him. He's going to make it happen." And we were like, great. So we talked to Steve, and he didn't really mention the camp at that time, but he was formulating this idea. Steve told us about Stan Kenton and meeting Peter Erskine and being inspired by that. And long story short, the idea of the camp came about, and the guys put this thing together with the idea that you're surrounded by like-minded people in this network of professional musicians and whatever you want to call the campers. You know, you're not there as an extra, as an add-on. You're there as part of the whole process, and we learn as much from them what to do, how to do it, as they learn from us. I liked the beginning of the camp, and in the beginning days, I would go around to the different places where the different guys were teaching, from Dave to Peter to we just make the rounds, Steve, and just pop into the classes, and inevitably they would ask my 2 cents, and that turned into this whole idea. Well, the jam band, and then Chrissi, who kind of has a knack for running things and organizing things the night of the jam sessions. She made a beautiful announcement at the first camp in Cleveland we did. She got up and she said, look, we're good with all the pyrotechnics that you guys learn and all the chop stuff, but if you really want to impress us, just lay down a solid groove. Forget about the fills, forget about the turnarounds, just lay down a solid groove and make us feel good. And one of the first or second people up there was, I don't even remember her name, but a female drummer who didn't have anything in the way of chops, but she had a groove, and that's all she did. And she laid it down, and we played something that was appropriate. And that's the idea. You're not up there, you're not going to all of a sudden gain this Mike Mangini chops at the last minute. So there's no reason to be afraid and to play with the band, and just do what you do well. And and that's what we're trying to do, is give that the experience of doing that.
That's great.
Vinny, as you mentioned, that part of my class protocol is that very thing, because it's like an inner game and inner language when you're playing the tune. And the second you change as a drummer your state of mind and abandon the thing that you're supposed to be doing, is when that chaos breaks loose. And it's a very, very fine line on what you can bring into the song without losing the song. You know what I mean? And there's no sense in trying something that's just not in human nature to do. You know what I mean? And just go out too far, because then you've abandoned where everything is. But when you can do that, that's when you put one over here and there and just make you guys laugh and kind of throw a little monkey wrench in. But we won't do that. And by the way, Bruce, the way you're positioned, the green behind you looks like a halo. That was very, very well done. I actually put with the background I put in my control room on Zoom. You can do the virtual background, right? I don't know that you can do it on here, but I put a bar room there, and it looks so real. Remember when I jumped onto your whatever the Christmas thing that you did?
I remember that. Yes.
And so what so this is, I know it's off the topic, but humor is part of what we're going to do. We're going to enjoy everybody and be humorous and really, really try to have fun. But I was on a Zoom call with the Pearl guy, Mark Terrick, and I had the bar there, and he's like, Mike, you have to put a shelf behind you and take a real drink off it while you're on, so people think that the things are. But it doesn't. And when we Zoom, because we were doing some meetings, I actually put a table and I put like a shot glass there, but it wouldn't. The AI kept cutting it out. So, and look at you, now you have a window.
That's my real background, actually. I'm not at home, so I use this virtual just to pretend I'm home. But it does. You're right. It you do that, and the mic
disappears. Yeah,
mic disappears. So
anyway, I'm sorry for that tangent, but it's
that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
I wanted to add to what Vinny was saying. The woman who got up, who you were talking about, she called me a few months before the camp, and she said she had a brain tumor previously, and there was a bucket list thing for her to come to the camp. And she said to me, I don't play all that much. Is it okay? I have a teacher and I'm working a little, but I can't do a lot. And I said, you have to come. Like, that's a great story, and you should come because it's such a great atmosphere. She ended up coming, and Chrissi talked her into playing that tune. I think she played Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, where you just keep a normal groove. And she held it together, and it was this, I think, one of many real feel-good moments we've had where people were a little afraid to get up there, and they weren't really sure what was going to happen, and they ended up killing it and making it like the whole camp worth it for everyone to see somebody get up there and do that. That's who I think that was that you were talking about.
Yeah. I remember Erskine saying, okay, I'm done. I can leave now.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chrissi definitely will go up and talk to people and do a little therapy if anybody has a hard time getting up to play. And she's really good at it. But the band is so friendly and so easy to play with that even I'll get up and play. And I haven't really played since like 2006, like actually had a drum set, and I'll get up and play. And what's even better is I always say the bass players that we have there, like now we have Hagar, and we've had Baron Brown, and Jimmy
Genus
was there when you're Genus, all these great guys. No matter how bad my time is, they always keep me locked in. And they say that it's just very comfortable and everybody has a good time with it. There's no pressure.
It's always every person I've spoken with, Steve, has said that. Like all the counselors that you've had over the years, Steve Smith, and that I've spoken with about it, have said the same thing, that it's a very uplifting. It's for anybody who's a little bit nervous, it's not what they might think it's going to be like. You're gonna right, and Vinny's nodding his head too, that you're going to go there and pretty quickly you're going to lose that sort of feeling of being intimidated or nervous, because there's none of that there. It's all about, first of all, we're all brothers and sisters anyway when it comes to music, whether it's drums, guitar, bass, and everybody just feels good. And that's what I love about it. That's why I wanted to have you on to talk about this, because I just think the more of these types of things that you and people can do, it just keeps music alive out there. It keeps people engaged and wanting to play an instrument and make music. We got to just keep doing it,
And it's helpful. It's helpful.
Having the band there is what makes this, I think, different than other experiences like it. I don't think there are too many camps that have had an ensemble like this. We have Stu Mindeman playing keys, who's unbelievable. And, he does some of the arranging. And then we have, Vinny pulling all the music together and kind of keeping it all working and managing it. And Chrissi is just the most energetic, unbelievable, singer. I went to the Hollywood Bowl last year and watched her, up there, doing a David Foster song, like in front of David Foster. And she's standing on the stage doing it and killing it. Um, and I was just so proud watching her. I couldn't believe that she comes to my camp, and
That's
then I
right.
looked at this screen and I can't believe these people come as well. And um, so it really is an opportunity. It's a very specialized opportunity to go catch a little whiff of what makes people really great at doing something. And it can help you not just in music, but in anything you do, to just
Yeah.
see some
Yeah.
of the best people do what they do.
And where will it be this year, Steve? I know it's in LA, but is it in the Valley somewhere, or is it?
Actually, it's at the Coleman School, which is this really neat private conservatory in a really nice part of downtown LA across from the Disney Performing Complex and the
Yep.
Broad Museum. So it's really nice over there. The hotel that we use, if you stay in the hotel, is maybe 200 feet away. Um, it's a really hip, cool part of downtown over there. And
Yeah.
the school, it's a private conservatory, but I saw it and I went and talked to someone there. I was like, is it possible to do this there? And they're like, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be a nice, comfortable atmosphere, I think.
That's great. And then I think you mentioned to me the other day that one of the jams, or like the final jam, is that at the Baked Potato. Did you
Right. So we do a concert every year.
a concert?
And
Yeah.
this
Okay.
year, we're going to do it at the famous Baked Potato Jazz Club, which we've never really done it that way before. But a lot of people have asked about that over the years, or they'll go like in some evening, they'll go to the Baked Potato. So we moved the concert over there. It'll be more like, a club date. Um, and there'll be two sets, and you can go on the Baked Potato website actually to buy the second set. The first set is, I think, sold out. So the second set you can get into. Um, and yeah, the Baked Potato, if you haven't been there, it's tiny. And
Yeah.
so these guys will be right in your face playing, and you can just soak it up and eat a baked potato the size of your head. Stuff,
Exactly. Yeah. Any
stuff
kind of
with
baked potato.
like chicken parmesan or something, like just
Right.
it's a mess,
It's
but it's
crazy.
pretty cool. Yeah.
It's great. And it's a
Yeah.
legendary spot. So Vinny, let me ask you, so do you basically, you're in charge of like the music, like in terms of the jam sessions, you've got a list of songs that do you call them out, or do you give people like some advance, like, okay, you're gonna work on this later and we're gonna do this song tonight. So, or is it all sort of spontaneous and
Well, we have a list that has been growing for the this says actually 15 years, but it is 16 years, isn't it, Steve? Or
This year, yeah, it'll be the 16th.
yeah, this year's our
Yeah.
16th year. So
wow.
we've formulated this list throughout the years, and the campers can pick one of the tunes on that list. If they should be able to find something in
I
the
got you.
vein that they like, that's on that list. And like Steve was saying, if somebody is apprehensive about playing because they don't think they are good enough, Chrissi a lot of times will say, "Hey, let's just get up and groove, and we can make something up on the spot." And I mean, that is sometimes some of the most fun we have, just improvising and making it happen on the spot. I'm definitely surrounded by the best of the best. Steve already mentioned the band, but these guys not only know the tunes, but they can play them in any keys, and not that matters too much for the drummers, but it does for us. And you know, it's fun to actually interact with them and go through
Yeah.
the process. Watch them get ready. Watch them set up. We have two drum sets set up on the place where we do the jam night. And so while we're playing with one drummer, another drummer will be getting his stuff, kind of set, and like you said, you have varying abilities, so you should not feel in any way apprehensive at all.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think. What I noticed is the bulk of the people want to play. They want to get up, and that just comes from the comfort level that you feel when you go there. You know, it's like we're casual right now, which we're not. This is what we do. You know, you're just normal. You get up, you relate to people, and you're all trying to have fun, but also, as you guys know, over the years, you know who's been doing the clinics, who's teaching. So it's not like you're just plucking someone out of the yellow pages. It's like, oh, you can teach it. You know, not everybody really has the teaching thing together, and you do it for a while. That's who you get, right, Steve? I mean, you know who's doing what. So there's a comfort level that the students have with the teachers, because the teachers are comfortable and casual. And so when it comes to the jam, people want to get up and play because they feel comfortable.
Right. I was going to say, everybody there has the teaching chops, of course, and then everybody are just sweet people. We just, you know, the instructors we have every year, when you leave, you know, you feel like you really met a special person, somebody who obviously has had a lot of success in their career and set an example for you of excellence for a few days that you might want to shoot for. But they're all really professional, nice people. We don't ever have anyone there who doesn't get along with, you know, or anything like that. It's always really a respectful atmosphere going both ways.
And as an added bonus, Mike knows how to really wield that wiffle ball or wiffle bat to kind of keep you in line. You know, you get that technical approach as well. So
no, I end up leaving with more welts than anybody. So
you know, I have a wiffle ball bat right in the other room.
That's funny. So do I, John.
I wish
so
I
do I. I have one
right?
as well. I'm serious, man. I was going to go and get it, but
my little grandson Dylan started playing t-ball, and we got it down here on the vineyard for him when they come down next week. So anyway, I should have brought it in as a prop.
No, I started a whole thing. Some people think I'm serious.
You better believe I'm bringing a wiffle ball back to the camp this year.
Oh no!
It's going in my gig bag.
It's going in my trash space, man.
Oh man!
When I bring a wiffle ball bat, like, wouldn't an aluminum bat do a little better?
Yeah,
leave it to Mangini to start this. This is what I'm saying. I've known this guy a long time. I'm telling you. No, I was just going to say, you guys are all so perfectly suited for this. You know, knowing all you guys the way I do, it's so great. And the comments are so, from the people that have gone and are planning to go, are so positive. And maybe Steve, you and I can brainstorm on something like maybe. If you think this is of any interest, or people watching think it's interesting, maybe we can down the road after the camp do another one of these and pick one of the people that came to the camp as a outstanding student or something, and have them come on the podcast and talk about their experience.
Pure guinea pig, but yeah, that would be great.
yeah, and maybe we can. It could be somebody who hasn't signed up yet. So like, it has to be. You watched this podcast and it made you sign up for it, and that's the criteria. So, Mike, what were you going to say?
That'd be fun.
Nothing. I'm just giggling.
You're just giggling.
I'm just giggling, just visualizing things, having a good time, and just looking forward to it. Because Steve said something vital, pun intended, right? You know, he said that he leaves with plenty to do for months, and every instructor that I know, and I know everybody for the most part, is still a student. We're all still students. You're all still. I think maybe that's the core component or foundation that allows for everyone's comfort level, because we want to be there and we want to keep learning, and there's always something to know. So it's really cool, and I'm glad he said that.
That's great.
I think he knows what he's doing.
That kid's gonna go.
Go ahead, Vinny. I'm sorry.
I was going to say he's got a future in this.
He's got a future. Somewhere. Yeah, he's done all right. I was saying to Steve, he and I were talking earlier off camera, off the podcast. And, I've met him many, many years ago, but we've been friends for like 35 years. And I said, Steve, with your 70th birthday coming up next month, I was thinking I've known you half of your life. And he just sort of stopped and went, wow. And he said, it's hard to believe that we were ever young once, something like that. But I said, when I think about, I met him in 1989, he was 35, and what he'd already done by the time he was 35, it's pretty amazing. Like he was done with Journey the first time and had all that success, had started Vital Information, had done a bunch of other things. So anyway, just
a great moment, if anyone wants to go look for this on YouTube, is at one of the camps we had Todd Zuckerman there, and Todd and Steve end up doing a long duet together at the concert, and the love that you could see in Todd's eyes while Steve was playing his part, and Todd's in the background just like gushing, because so many years earlier, I can't remember how many years ago, like how old Todd was, but he basically sent a letter to Steve Smith through Modern Drummer magazine, and Steve wrote back like this thick answer to him and totally inspired him. And this was one of the moments that we had. Yeah.
That's great.
I think he was 12, Steve.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That tracks right. Yeah.
We just have these moments that come up. I actually wanted to show you a moment that I have in a clip if people want to see it. It's since Chris is not with us, Chris Coleman, but I have a clip from his class that's kind of funny, and it's him and Gavin Harrison. So when Chris teaches, he plays the bass and he uses sometimes this vocal metronome. And I don't want to say that to people watching this that they have to play the way that Gavin Harrison plays in this clip, but it just shows you the way that Chris teaches. So anyone wants to see it, I'll pull it up real quick. I think it's
please do. Yeah.
It shows you how loose the camp is in general. All right, let me see if I can figure this out real quick, and I'll bring it in. Okay, here it is.
And you have to figure out, like, okay, I'm not just gonna play ba 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 ba. I gotta make it musical, and this is the way you gotta practice this way, right? We get a CD, you learn the song, you practice it, you play it. That's how we do for the gig. But 9 times out of 10, we don't do that for our practice, and that's what happens. We come and we expect to just shoot straight to the 54th floor, and we got like all of the 20s missing. You see what I'm saying? Floor 17 is missing, 13 is missing. It's vital, man. Let a storm come. This building is gonna fall. You see what I'm saying? So let's try this, guys. Just the group. Stop. Right. And that's it. You just repeat it.
Just a little fun.
Gavin.
Now, the part you didn't get to see there is that Steve Smith walks in because he hears this going on, sits down at the other kit, and then all of a sudden there's this whole thing going on, and it totally derailed the class for about 10 minutes just for fun. And then they both left, and they probably called some kid to get up and like play with that thing.
Yeah.
But
I take back everything I said about Steve Smith. Then he's a class disruptor, is what he is.
For sure.
Oh.
But it shows you that when you're there, it's not this serious thing. I mean, it gets serious, but it's very fun and it's very loose, and there are some great moments.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
There you have
Mike,
it.
Mike Mangini, how many of these have you done? You've done several of these, right?
With Steve,
Yeah.
I only did one live one in Chicago, but I've done other. I did the stuff during COVID with him,
Yeah.
you know, online. But as far as just one live, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See,
That was enough.
That one. Yeah.
It was
It
that.
was
I
a
mean,
great year because it was Mike Mangini was there, Benny Grab, Steve Smith, Dave Weckel, and there was a fifth. I think we had 5 drummers that year. I'm forgetting somebody. There was another one. It was crazy. It was a great lineup.
It was memorable for me because we would all go to lunch together, and Mike would jump into the back of the van that we would go to lunch, and he'd just start going hot.
It was like 100 degrees in the van.
We just went back, and he's just.
Yeah, I know. It's nonstop entertainment with Mike Mangini. It is. It's not. Yeah.
I'd rather opt with some sense of humor than just that's yelling back there. What are you doing? It's 225 degrees.
And I remember Chrissi sat down next to him and goes, hot. And we're both doing it together.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, as we start to wrap things up, I was going to ask you if you have any more things you want to talk about for this year, or if there's maybe another clip that you might want to play just to whet some appetites of people. And again, we'll put the information in this when we put it up on YouTube and all the places how people can register and sign up and all that.
Yeah. But, I think Steve Smith put it best. It's not a celebrity hang. It's you're doing the work. You're there. You're in a class for 6 hours with 4 of the really greatest players for different reasons. And you're getting all of the technical or musical information you could ever hope for. And then you are getting a little taste of what makes some people really great at what they do. And I think that's something that you can leave with, is just the inspiration of it. That's why it's in the little tagline, inspiration is a part, because you leave, and if you're with Mike Mangini or, Bruce Becker long enough, you're going to notice, this is all possible, but they really did put the work in, and there are things you can do. And if you do them, you should have success.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what I think it's about.
Yeah. Did you evaporate Vinny? Oh, there he is.
There he is. Yeah. We lost him for a second.
I'm at the beach. So I'm not at home, and I don't have a consistent connection here. I'm doing the best I can. That's why I'm in and out.
That's all right. We feel you anyway. We have the vibe from no matter where you are.
I've been going like this the whole time, hoping my connection holds up. So I hear you.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
That's it.
It looks good.
That's
and by the way, I just want to thank you, John, for having us on, because I've watched all of your live streams, like when I'm working here in the office all the time, and I see Steve Gadd up there and all these incredible players, and now I'm thinking, like, what am I doing on here? That's so thank you for the time and kind of spreading the word about all this.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, all of you guys. And Steve Orkin, I've been wanting to have you on for some time. And when we spoke the other day, I just thought it's perfect. It's just, a month or so, a few weeks ahead of this year's camp. So maybe we can. And when you told me there are still some spaces, because I know it sells out a lot. So maybe we can get some people to squeeze in at the last second and be part of it.
Yeah, but there's some spots in there, and there's some tickets available for people who just want to go to the Baked Potato if they're in LA and they just want to go. That's on the Baked Potato website. So
there you go. So Steve, you made it to the big time podcast, and now Johnny's going to be running quickly because Johnny's going to ask you for a leather jacket. That's the best. If you're in the club, you have to ask Johnny for something. Otherwise, you're not in the whole club. You have to ask him. You have to annoy him. You got to
I
annoy
think
him.
even
like
I
that.
have some swag.
The-
from Johnny.
I know Vinny
know what?
Valentino has swag. Absolutely, you do, Vinny. Yeah.
The best was going down to Zildjian because I'm from Massachusetts, so I kind of bothered him more than normal. But being in his office when he would get phone calls about stuff someone needed, and inevitably every one of these people would go there, and I would see Johnny like, I don't have any more of those. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Anyway, it's just some good humor.
Good humor, fun times. No,
Yeah,
I know.
Well,
I
that's
know.
why when you look at the backdrop, he has all those amazing gold records and everything up there.
That's right. He gave
he's
away
done- it's
Yeah, I got
pretty
something out of
impressive.
the deal. Yeah. Well, thank you, and thank you guys so much for being here today. This has been, as I knew it would be, a lot of laughs, very informative, very educational, but lots and lots of fun. And I think we made a lot of people happy today too. So thank you
So,
guys.
and if you want, I'll take
And-
us out with when we're finished. If people stick around for a minute, I have Peter Erskine and Keith Carlock jamming
Absolutely.
to Asia that we'll take it out with. I think it's appropriate for this show.
Great. Well, then I'm going to just thank you guys for being here. And I want to thank Steve Orkin, the founder of Drum Fantasy Camp, returning champion Bruce Becker, returning champion Mike Mangini, returning champion Steve Smith, the pride of Whitman, Mass., who had to leave, and of course, the ever handsome, very talented Vinny Valentino. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon. Check out Drum Fantasy Camp.
Here comes a little Asia.
All right. All right. Well, that's my show. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, leave me a comment, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And remember, all episodes are available as podcasts on all the podcast platforms. But I also want to share some very exciting news with you. I've recently created a scholarship through the Percussive Arts Society. It's a Live from My Drum Room scholarship, and 100% of the proceeds from all Live from My Drum Room t-shirts will go toward that scholarship. So if you've bought a t-shirt, thank you very much for supporting this. If you're interested in buying a t-shirt, I'm going to give you that information right now. Shirts are available for $25, and that includes the shipping within the contiguous 48 U.S. states. And they're available in sizes extra small to double XL. The Venmo payment information is at John-DeChristopher-2. Again, at John-DeChristopher-2. Please be sure to give me your size and shipping address. And you can email me with any questions at livefrommydrumroom@gmail.com. 100% of the proceeds go toward this PAS scholarship, Live from My Drum Room. I thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And remember, no drummers are harmed on any show. I'll see you again real soon.